Hello, hello, hello. My name is Audrey Hamilton. I am the founder of Ignite Your Biz, and it's been a while, but we are back to having interviews again. So tonight I want to kick this off with Traci Poe, who is the founder of the Public Speakers Growth Hub. So Tracy, do you want to introduce yourself and get things going?
Sure, sure. First of all, okay, your intro video, it's pretty cool. I'm lame and on my podcast, I don't have anything like that. So you're
Okay,
fancy.
I'm seriously in between. I've made so many, and I'm like, but it's like we're going for it. I'm too lazy to
Yeah,
refix it. I did it earlier this year. I'm like, now, but I'm like, we're going for it. It is fine.
I liked it. I thought it was fun. So,
Good.
okay. So to answer your question, I am Traci Poe, the founder of the Public Speakers Growth Hub, and that is a membership community, and it is for new and nervous speakers. So we're going to talk a little bit about those of us who have a little bit of fear about public speaking, but why you need to face that, because there are benefits to using the power of the stage. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Yes, I'm so excited. I am just getting a few comments about things going, shared, and whatnot. Just trying to make sure we're all where we need to be.
Okay.
So I think we are good. So yeah, so you are talking about your workshop tonight, Speak to Be Seen. Is it
Yes.
a workshop, masterclass? Tell us a little bit about it.
So I call it a master class. And a lot of that is because anytime I do something, webinars were just the here, let me lecture at you, and maybe you take some notes. And then things kind of migrated to what they were calling workshops, but it felt very webinar-ish because there was not a whole lot of interaction. And I like using the term because at least the way I see a master class is it is a moment where we can really engage with each other and interact. And it is more of a master class. And I used to teach public speaking for 10 years in college. And so there was at no point in any of the times that I was teaching where I just solely lectured the entire time. So I think that you have to be engaged to really get it. So I'm calling it a master class.
As it should be. And it is a master class. You're a master of what you do. I love it.
You. Thank you.
I love it. So you want to start going with what you do? I know you said you have
Yeah.
quite a few notes prepared and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's just jump into this master class. And I do lead others, but tonight it is Speak to Be Seen, because as people who are in business, we have to be seen. So I'm going to talk about using the power of the stage as one mechanism to be seen. So Audrey, I have a question for you, and I think I know the answer. And I want to say, if you are watching live or the replay, I'm guessing there's going to be a replay, right? Yeah.
Yes, there will be
Okay.
this will be everywhere.
Okay. So if you're watching the replay or live, either way, go grab some paper and a pen and do take notes. And I'll be asking some questions so you can write some answers down. But here's my question for you and for Audrey about the idea of public speaking.
It's daunting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Elaborate. You want to elaborate?
okay. It's slightly terrifying. I have a bit of social anxiety
Mm.
and stuff, and just to be up in front of who knows how many people, even during like videos like this, it's a little bit nervous and nerve wracking, and I just kind of want to go hide in the shell. Let's just
Okay.
go say that.
So it's interesting you use that word hide, because it's gonna play into a story that I'm gonna share with you all. So years ago, I was teaching, I mentioned it earlier, public speaking, and I taught that for 10 years at college. And at first, okay, I am an introvert and I am shy. So the idea of me standing up and teaching people how to do public speaking, there is some irony there. And I, you know, at the beginning of teaching, it was like, Lord, I can't do this. Help me do this. Right. But the more I did it, the more I fell in love with what it did for my students. And that is some of what I want to share with you tonight. But my first night of class, and by the way, it was a required class. So the students had to be there. I often say, I don't think anybody would have enrolled had it not been a required course, but it was. So I actually had students show up. So the first night of class, I would put two signs up on opposite sides of the room. And one would say, no problem, I can do these in my sleep. And one would say, quick, someone hide me now. So Audrey, when you said the word hide,
Yep, I'd
the
be behind
poster,
that poster.
right, right. And I would have students stand on this invisible continuum about how they felt about public speaking the first night of class. And I always had people like hugging the wall. And a few times people were saying, can I go stand on the other side of the wall? So, why I want to share this story is that if you have any fear, any anxiety, even just a little bit, understand that the vast majority of people at some point in their life have had this fear of public speaking. And one of the examples that I use is, I don't know if you know the Jerry Seinfeld show, but he's a stand-up comedian. Audrey, do you know who I'm talking about?
I will say I do not. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You're young. You're young.
Yeah, yeah.
But but he's a stand-up comedian. And so one of the things he says is in one of his little shtick things, he says that there's a survey, and I don't know what the survey is today. This was years ago, which is probably why you've never heard of him. But the survey then was there were more people afraid of public speaking than of death. And so he did this whole routine about that people would rather be in the grave than standing in front of other people speaking. So I just say that because I want you, Audrey, and again, if you're watching live, if you're watching the replay, to understand that you are not alone. And what I want to talk about is this fear that we have inside of us. And I'm going to call it tonight the big ugly beast. And if you could describe, I know this is kind of out there a little bit, but if you could describe what your big ugly beast looks like, just jot that down. Or in a second, Audrey, I'll ask you, but I created mine, and Audrey and I were talking about slides. I normally do this with slides, but I didn't want to do with slides tonight. And I have my big ugly beast on the slides. So think about it. What does your big ugly beast look like? Let's give it something tangible. What do the teeth look like? Does it have legs, arms, hair? What color is it? Just kind of describe it in your mind. What does that fear, that anxiety look like to you? Audrey, do you want to give it a stab? What does your big ugly beast look like?
Um, Probably okay. Almost like a wolf slash bear, about the size of the house on fire.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
I don't
I
know,
like it. No,
slightly dark, a bit yeah.
I like it. Okay, if anybody is watching live and you want to drop into the chat, Audrey's watching everything, I think. Go ahead
Yeah.
and drop in what your big ugly beast would look like. And again, if you don't want to, or if you're just watching the replay, write it down. Describe what that looks like to you, what that fear feels like, what that anxiety, what that apprehension looks like. All right, is anybody saying anything?
Not yet, but that is okay because there will be the replay. And frankly, please help if you guys are watching the replay, put it in the thing so that my uh, thing feels a little less ridiculous. Maybe draw some drawings and let it see a little bit. Let's make it a little bit of fun there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So here's what I want you to know. This anxiety that you have, that big ugly beast, is your stinking thinking. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight. We're going to be talking about how that stinking thinking affects us and how that the stage can benefit you. And so we're going to talk about what that feels like for the stinking thinking, and then why we need to get rid of that so that you can use the power of your public presence from the stage. And when I say stage, I don't necessarily only mean in person. Right now, once upon a time it was in person, but now
Mhm.
most people, I would say, take the stage virtually, like what Audrey and I are doing now. And it could even be just recording content and posting it out. You are still speaking in front of other people and you are putting it out there. So, we're going to talk about how using the stage can benefit you. And then I'm going to give you some tips at the end and show you how these specific tips can benefit you as well. And these are not going to be your typical stand straight, make eye contact with the audience, speak loudly. It's not going to be that type of tip.
Yeah.
But before we do all of that, I want to go back to our stinking thinking. And when you think about public speaking, again, whether you have a little anxiety or a whole lot of it, we're going to talk about how that can show up in your life. And so, Audrey, as I go through these, and if you're watching live and you want to drop something in the chat, go ahead and say, that's me, or talk about what you think and what you feel. But, Audrey, since you are here with me, I'm going to enlist you to go
Yes.
through this with me. So if I go over anything that is something that you feel or have felt or experienced in the past, just stop me and say, yep, that's me. Okay.
Yes. Will
So
do.
the first one is we can feel anxiety in a physical way. I
Yep.
used to, again, when I was in front of my class, or if I ever had to get up in front of somebody, whoo, my heart would be pounding. And sometimes I would kind of get that dry mouth. I know that some people feel nauseous. They just feel like they're going to be sick. Do any of those ring any bells for you, Audrey?
Yes, the dry mouth. I also get jittery, just
Yes.
like I
Yeah.
have to keep tapping
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Shaking. That's another one. Forgetfulness. That's another one.
Seriously. My brain I joke around and but it's very true. My brain literally just shuts off as soon as I hit the live.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if my notes are in front of me, I forget how to speak.
I got to tell you my story. So I heard, when I first started my company several years ago, by the way, I'm from the nonprofit world and I walked away after 20 something plus years and I started my company, but people were saying, "Oh, you have to do lives. You have to do lives." And so there was one day when I knew what I was saying, I hit live and I just stared. I just stared at my phone. Nothing came out of my mouth for seconds. And my daughter said later, "Mom, like what was that even about?"
Yeah,
So it happens. It happens.
yeah.
Okay. So we have this physical thing that just shows up in us when we get nervous. But now let's talk about mentally. Let's talk about the way that our stinking thinking, that fear, that anxiety, that apprehension impacts us mentally. So we might have a fear of failure. That's one of the things
Mhm.
I hear a lot, or making mistakes. They're afraid to make mistakes. Another one is like this. Once you post something out there, it lives on. It lives on, and people are terrified of saying the wrong thing and the
Mhm.
next one being judged. We're going to talk about that in a second. But another one I hear a lot that kind of goes with being judged is, I don't want to look stupid. I hear
Mhm.
that so many times. Okay, so Audrey, is there anything that what I've mentioned that you have experienced?
All of the above.
Oh,
Okay, honestly, I am very much perfectionist. I was basically raised in a household that you put in your all, and I love it, and it's benefited me in many ways, but it has stopped me from public speaking, and I have made a fool of myself up in front of people.
me too.
And I
Me
have,
too.
like you, I had a workshop that I was trying to host, and then I was promoting it for, like, 2 months, and then the day came, and I froze up. I had to cancel the whole thing. It was a 3-day workshop. I was like, "Nope, done. I can't do it." I got live, I freaked out, panic attack, all this stuff. Afterwards, I, was terrified. That was it. And fear of failure is a huge thing for me because
It
I guess
really
it's mixed up
is.
with
Yeah.
the perfectionism, and I don't want to ever make people upset. And so I worry sometimes I'm gonna say something wrong and that I will, be judged because of that when something didn't quite go come across right.
Right.
So, basically all of the above, like I said, it's my mind works in overdrive, and I guess that's why when you said that big stinking monster, I think that's what you big stinking beast, I forgot exactly your thing for it.
The big ugly beast.
Big ugly beast, that's the one. But when you said that it's basically your thinking, I was like, "No wonder it's the size of bigger than a house." That's basically how my mind goes. So,
I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about the being judged thing. And again, write the notes down if you're live, go ahead and enter it into the chat. But do you, as a person, ever judge anyone else negatively or positively? Because both are judgments. Do you ever do it? Audrey, do you ever do it? Do you ever judge?
I mean, of course, it's
Of, of course.
yep.
Of course. We are people, we are humans. And as humans, we just do it. Whether it's, oh, I like the color of that shirt, or, oh, that's a big piece of pie, whatever it is, we assign judgment, positive or negative. We just do it. So if you are standing up on a stage in person, or if you are doing a video, live workshop, recorded, whatever, are people going to judge you?
Always.
Yes.
At that point then.
Yes. We are going to be judged. So understand when you're afraid of judgment, oh, it's going to happen. But the flip side is if you just shut down from public speaking or posting content, doing a workshop, a 3-day workshop that you cancel, and there's no shame, Audrey, trust me, there is no shame here. If we allow that fear, that big ugly beast that's hanging out in the middle of our room to
Mhm.
control us, then that means we're not getting in front of people who really need us. Okay.
True.
So when you are afraid of being judged, you've got to make peace with it because, yes, you will be. But what if it's positive judgment? What if people are there to cheer you on? That's one of the things I talk about. When you go to an in person stage or a workshop, I promise you, people have not showed up just to watch you fail. Unless you have a nemesis in the room, right? Like this mortal enemy, no one is there going, oh, screw up, Audrey, screw up, fail.
True.
No, nobody is doing that.
Very
So
true.
understand that when you have an audience, they really are there to cheer you on because they're not going to be giving you their time if they aren't there with good intent.
That's
Okay.
very true.
Okay. So Think about that the next time you are afraid of being judged. Yeah, you're going to be. So what? So what? Okay. All right. Here's another thing that kind of gets in our minds. What if I do really well and now I don't have capacity, right? What do I do then? What if I can't meet all of the sales that are rolling in? Some people are afraid of failure, afraid of success, just like they're afraid of failure. And that is a really big deal. Okay. One final one. Sometimes we've got this mental thing going on, and it's not really a fear, it's an anxiety because we feel overwhelmed. Maybe we don't know where to start. Maybe we are trying to figure out our title. Maybe we're trying to figure out what content to include. Maybe we're trying to figure out how to launch the thing, how to do the thing. And so we allow our overwhelm to kind of shut us down. Audrey, have you ever experienced any of that?
I will say that I have my workshops and stuff planned from beginning to end, so that's not
Good.
necessarily the problem.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, I could definitely see how that can be overwhelming to people. At first, it slows me down a little bit, but once I get into it, it's like not a problem. It's just
Right.
keeping when I'm talking. It's like, wait a second, where's my stuff? So
That's funny. Okay. All right. So all of those are different things that you might feel physically or experience emotionally. But here is what I want to tell you. Just like my students who were standing on the wall and asking, can they go around to the other side? They made it through that course. And it was beautiful to watch them grow from the first class to the last class. And I have to tell you that the last night of class, I would put the same signs up in the room. And then I would ask them to get up and stand where they were on the first night of class. Then I would ask them to move to where they felt they were at that moment. And almost always, one person out of 10 years, one person moved closer to the quick somebody hide me now. But everybody else, for all of those 10 years, all of those courses, all of those students, everyone moved closer to the no problem, I can do these in my sleep. Now, they may not have been hugging that wall, but they took some steps closer. So here's what I want you to understand. Just like my students understood, yeah, I can do this, I want you to understand you can do it too. Because one of the things that I told my students was, yes, you can do this. I've got you. I'm going to do this with you.
yep.
And I want you to also understand, yes, you can do this. I've got you. I'm going to do this with you. Okay. So now we've talked about that big, ugly beast that's in the middle of your room and some of the ways that you experience that big, ugly beast or your stinking thinking. Now we're going to talk about why you need to get rid of that big, ugly beast. And what that looks like is all of the ways, or at least some of the ways, that being on stage, again, virtually or in person, will benefit you. Okay. So this is about getting rid of the big ugly beast and unleashing the power of your public presence that you take a hold of from the stage. So Audrey, I'm guessing you've heard of the know, like, and trust factor.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So do you feel comfortable explaining it to everybody what the know, like, and trust factor is? And if you don't, I will.
You go ahead.
Okay. Okay. By the way, I keep drinking because I'm thirsty all the time, but also look at my mug. Wait, can you see it?
Oh, that is so cute.
It's
Hire me,
merch.
I'm a speaker. I love that.
It's merch that I have for my public speakers growth up. So, I should have worn my shirt. I have some shirts. I should have worn one of my shirts. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So, no, like, and trust factor. I was going to take a drink and let Audrey talk, but Audrey is like, back to you. So now I'm not going to take a drink out of my
Okay, I'm sorry. So I've heard of
fun
the
mug.
like and trust
Okay.
thing, but
No, it's okay.
it's like one of those things that I get confused with certain systems sometimes because I know like
Okay.
all these different things.
I,
I
yeah.
can't remember
Yeah.
which
No,
one
I
it
got
is
it. I got
exactly.
it. Okay. So there's this idea of know, like, and trust. And what it basically says is if somebody doesn't know you're there, how do they hire you or buy from you? They don't know you're there. So
Mhm.
they have to see you. They have to experience you in some degree to go, oh, I didn't know Audrey existed and this is what she does. Oh, I didn't know Traci existed and this is what she does. She has a community for new and nervous speakers. I didn't know that. I didn't know she helped people with public speaking. So that no factor has to be there before somebody can hire you or spend money with you. The next thing is like. In general, not always, but in general, you are going to spend your money with someone that you like. I can
Yep.
tell you, there is a fast food chain that is minutes from my house. I'm not going to say who they are. I don't like them because we've lived in this house, gosh, 12, 13 years. I don't know how many years. Every time, and my family loves it. Every time I order, they get my order wrong, right? They get my order wrong. So
In those
generally,
cases,
because I
you
like,
have to be liked. You have to
yes,
like
yes,
somebody to continue going with them. You're not going to keep hiring somebody
exactly.
or work
So
with somebody you don't.
exactly, I don't like them. They don't get my money. Now, my family, every once in a while, I'm with them, and they're like, "Let's go," and I'm like, "No," and then they want to go, and I do, and guess what? They get my order wrong again. The point is if it weren't for my family, I would not spend my money with them. So in general, people have to decide, do I like Audrey or not? Do I like Traci or not? Before they decide to work with us. Now, there are some times when you think, I don't really care for the person, but I really like what they're offering and I need that thing. So I'm going to spend my money with them, even though I don't really like them. But generally, you're not going to get that dollar if someone doesn't like you. Now, does
Yep.
that mean everybody has to like you? Heck no. But as people get to know you, they can say, oh, she's my person. He's my person. Right.
Yep.
And so there are people that join the Public Speakers Growth Hub. And that's not all I do with public speaking. I do some one on ones and some other things. I'm going to be launching a different level of a mastery group this year. But in general, somebody's really going to probably like me and think, "Oh, I'm their person." I've had people say that to me. There was one of my members said that she took another, I don't know, webinar or whatever. She did like the person, but she decided that was not for her. And then she took one of my workshops, master classes, and she said, "I just knew you were who I needed to work with." So that was just her getting to know my personality by being in one of my master classes. So that's the like factor. Then you've got that trust factor. So, Audrey, if you thought I was absolutely horrible at helping people with public speaking, would you join my group or would you hire me to work with you if you did not trust
Nope.
that I knew what I was doing?
Nope. If I didn't trust what you do, you wouldn't be here tonight.
So that's a perfect example. If we don't trust that somebody knows what they're doing, that they have that credibility, that they have that authority, that they are an expert in their field, it is likely someone is not going to spend their dollar with you. So that is the know, like, and trust factor. You have to know that somebody is there. In general, you have to like them and you have to trust that they know what they're doing before you give them your hard-earned dollar. So let's flip it around. If you're wanting people to hire you or buy from you, you need to think about these things. And there are naysayers to this know, like, and trust factor. But think about this logically. I think it is a very logical process that how
Yes,
does someone spend their dollar if they don't know you exist? Right. So
exactly.
I think it's logical. I stand by it. and I stand by it so much. We're going to talk about it tonight. So, one of the things that is a benefit to you, one of the reasons you need to kick that big, ugly beast out of the middle of your room is that you can grow your audience organically by tapping into that know, like, and trust factor. So somebody may be watching the replay or live and they have never heard of me, they have never seen me. But I am on Audrey's stage tonight. And now, if you have never seen me, you know nothing about me. Now you know I exist. And this is an organic thing. You're going to discern, or you're going to decide by the time we're done tonight, oh, is she a little wacky for me? By the way, I like to have fun. I like to laugh. Audrey and I like to laugh when we talk.
We can be chaotic. We can have fun and chaos.
Exactly. So you're going to decide if I'm not buttoned up enough for you and you want somebody a little more buttoned up, or you're going to decide if my personality is something that you like.
Mm-hmm.
You're also going to decide by the time we're done tonight if you trust that I know what I'm talking about. And I hope you do. I taught it for 10 years in college. I hope you understand. I know what I'm talking about. And then after I taught, I still worked with people beyond the classroom. Okay. So that is the number one thing, not the number one thing, but one of the things that can help you when you take the stage. So another one is that you can boost your business from the stage by selling from the stage. Now think about it. I lead a lot of master classes. And so in that case, it's my stage. I can do what I want. If I want to make an invitation for someone to join me in one of my offers, I get to make an invitation. It's my stage. Also, in the event that, like tonight, I'm using Audrey's stage and Audrey's audience, I can ask her, hey, do you mind if I make an invitation at the end or in the middle of? And she can either say yes or no. Now, if she says no, please understand you're not wasting your time, because even if I don't make an invitation from this stage tonight, if you decide you like me, if you decide you trust me, and you decide that there is a benefit to speaking from the in-person or virtual stage, and it's going to impact your business, and it will, then you can track me down. You have my name. You know the name of my company. You can go find me. So even if you're told no, you cannot make an invitation or an offer from the stage, it is not a waste of time. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Number 3, you can grow your list from your stage or someone else's stage. So when I'm leading a master class and they're free, I have people register. I capture their name. I capture their email. So now I can put them into my CRM and I can reach out to them. Hey, what did you think? Hey, do you have any questions? How can I help you? How can I support you? I now have added to my list. And often, if you're speaking on someone else's stage, you can ask them, hey, can I have the list of attendees? And if they say no, they say no. And you say, thank you. And you just really nail it and hope people will reach out to you. But generally, a lot of people are gracious and they say, yes, you can have the list. But sometimes, like in this live situation, we may not ever know everyone who watches, and especially what their email is.
Yep.
But in the right situation, you can ask the person who has the stage if you can have that list, and then you can grow it.
Mm-hmm.
You can gain more connections, more followers by speaking on someone else's stage. Okay. All right. Number 4, you leverage a larger number of people. Let's talk about this. If you are spending, and I'm not saying there is never time for a DM or a phone call. That's not what I'm saying, or a Zoom call. Not it. But If you are spending time DMing, you're doing it one person at a time. If you are spending time on a call, a discovery call, or whatever, you're doing that one person at a time. And
Yep.
again, there is a place for that. That is, I'm not saying don't do those things, but if we're taking minute for minute, and you can have those minutes where you're doing one person at a time, but you can turn around and speak to many people,
Mhm.
there is a benefit in that. There is some efficiency in that. So
Definitely.
there is power. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just saying definitely I was agreeing, so
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it goes back to it's just logical. You can talk
yep.
to one person at a time, or you can take the stage and talk to a lot of people at a time. And again, this is going to be out there in however many places as a replay. There is no telling how many people are going to see this over time. It's the reason why people do so well on YouTube, because it's living out there and people can search you and go watch your video. Okay. Number 5, the fifth reason that you need to get that big, ugly beast and that stinking thinking out of the middle of your room is because by not taking the stage, you are leaving money on the table. You are not going to be reaching as many people as you could if you are not taking the virtual or in person stage. So you are losing out if you do not take advantage. Okay. All right. Any questions before I go on?
So far, you are doing fabulous. There's no questions. I've agreed with everything you've said. This is why you're here. You're an expert at what you do. I'm going to have to watch the replay of this. I'm still trying to get stuff going.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So we talked about the big ugly beast in the middle of the room, which is that stinking thinking. And we talked about ways that impacts us physically, mentally. Then we talked about some, not all of the benefits, some of the benefits about using the power of your public presence from the stage. So those are the reasons you need to kick that big ugly beast out of the middle of your room. Now I'm going to move to the final portion of this masterclass, and we are going to talk about some tips. So Audrey, I'm going to engage you in some of these too. So again, these are not just your normal stand up straight, use body language, speak up loudly. It goes beyond that. So number 1, sometimes people say, I don't know what to talk about. Well, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to be talking about your business, right? You need to be talking
Yep.
about some aspect of your business. But what happens, let's say in your business, you do not like keeping books. Me. Nope, 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 nope. But you know what I love to do? I love to work in a live situation I have what I call the weekly workshop Wednesdays, where my premium members, they get to come in and we do a workshop and they get to learn and grow and get feedback. Do you know what? During those workshops, man, that lights my fire. I love it. I get to hear about their wins, and their wins truly are my wins. I get very excited about it. So, tip number 1 is whatever you talk about, make sure you are passionate about it. So if I had to stand up and talk about keeping books, there's going to be no passion there, none there. But
Yep.
if I stood up and talked about my amazing members and all that they are doing and learning in these workshops and the ways they're growing, that's going to light my fire. My passion is going to come through. So, Audrey, real quick, what would you speak about that you are passionate about?
Empowerment and like impossible goals and branding and marketing. Definitely those like three. They all just work together.
Yeah,
So
they do. So, what happens when you are speaking in front of people and your passion shows through, do you think you're going to just capture their attention? You
They
are.
might think I'm a weirdo.
No, but that's where they decide if they want to work with you or not, right? That light factor.
That is
And
true.
that's exactly one of the things that you can show when you were speaking of something you're passionate about. Your likability is going to show for them. They're going to decide if they care for you, if they like you.
That is
And
true.
that trust factor is going to pop out. So if you're talking about something that you're passionate about, that helps the like factor, and it helps that trust factor, that credibility, that authority. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was teaching public speaking, it was on a military base. And so I had active duty or I had retired military generally. I had some civilians. Most of them were or well, at the time they still were or the retired military. And they had been taught when you stood up to speak, you stood very still with your arms to your side. You did not move. It was an interesting thing to break that out of some of them, to
I
get them
bet.
to move naturally. So when you are moving around naturally, not choreographed, don't do choreographed. I've seen people do that. And that does not show up as authentic. I'm just going to say it, leave it there. But when you move around authentically and naturally, you are engaging your audience because your movement keeps them engaged. Unless it's a weird thing, it keeps them engaged. And so, what does that do? That shows your audience part of your personality. They get to decide again how they feel about you. All right. So embrace your passion, use your body naturally. I use my hands a lot if you haven't figured it out. Use stories. And if you feel like you don't have your own, because I have people say, I don't know what story I would tell. I don't have a story, which you do. We can talk about that. You do have a story, but sometimes someone else's story is very impactful and you can bring it into your talk. I'll give you an example. Earlier, when I was talking about using your stage versus someone else's stage and whether that person allows you to make an offer or an invitation, I was in somebody else's workshop and he was sharing that he had spoken on someone's stage. He asked if he could make an invitation. They said no. So he didn't. But when he was done, he got off the stage and he went down and he had a woman meet him. And she said, I don't know what all you do, but I know I want it. I know I want to work with you.
Yeah.
So that's an example of his story, but it blends very well in what I'm talking about tonight. So I can use someone else's story. You can use someone else's story. And here is a little side tip. When we use stories, we engage imagination and we engage emotion. And there are people who purchase on an emotional high. You have some who do it very logically, but you have some that it's like, yes, this feels right. I know this is going to help me. Here's my checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are engaging them, you are tapping into their emotions. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Number 4 of some tips. Remember that words are ambiguous. And what that means is if I say, well, let's play a little game. Real quick, again, if you're live, drop it in the chat. If you're watching the replay, I want you to write it down. Although you don't know what everybody else is saying, but Audrey and I are going to play. So Audrey, I'm going to say a word and I want you to say the first thing that pops into your mind. Okay?
Okay.
Apple.
Yummy.
Yummy. Okay. Some people say red. Some people say delicious. Some people say the company, right? Apple, the company. So that just shows that you can say a word, but not everyone will think of it in the same way. There's cognitive or connotation and denotation. The denotation of a word is a dictionary meaning, what it means in the dictionary. The connotation is what you think about it, the feeling, the thoughts that you ascribe to a word. So now let's say I'm going to do one more. Dog.
Fluffy.
Fluffy. I usually get mangy or man's best friend, or, there's this whole spectrum when I say dog. I had somebody say man one time. I was like, oh no. Okay. Okay. So, and of course she was in a room full of men, but anyhow, so here's my point. When you use words, I want you to think about the way that someone might perceive that word. And if you can use a more specific word, then you need to think about that and use specific language. All right. Next one. Please ignore bad public speaking advice. This is one of the things I talk about a lot. So, Audrey, have you ever heard any bad public speaking advice?
So, because I'm not a public speaker, I don't exactly know the most of it. So I don't know.
Okay, let me give you some. Let me share. Number one, I have heard don't make eye contact. No, unless you're like this, I'm looking over here and I see Audrey over here. My camera's up here. That's a little different. If you're doing a recording, you're not going to make eye contact with people. But if you are in a room, or if you are on a webinar or a workshop or whatever, and you're looking into the camera, it looks like you're looking at people's eyes. But especially if you're in person, you need to make eye contact with your audience. And I'm not saying you have to make eye contact, like go down the row, go down the row, go down the row. But there are people that you can make eye contact with around the room, and that helps your audience feel connected to you. And that is huge when it comes to your likability. People, again, are getting to know your personality, but also it really impacts that authority, that credibility, that trustability that people have if you are connecting with them in an authentic way. All right. That's just one example of bad public speaking
But
advice.
it
I have a
makes sense
list.
though. I've heard eyes are the window to the soul. And
You
if
what?
you eyes are the window to the soul. And if you want to make a deeper connection, you need to actually look people in the eyes.
Yes. 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 I love that. Okay. I've talked about being authentic throughout this. Be authentic. Do not be someone that you are not, because what happens? Your audience sees right through that. And is that going to be good for your likability and your
No,
trustability?
no.
No. If you are not being authentic, they're going to see through that, and that is going to damage your reputation, at least for a little while. I'm going to give you an example. I have heard people say, oh, start with a joke. I'm not necessarily a joke teller. So if I started with a joke, unless I really felt it, it would not come across as authentic, because that's not who I normally am. I joke around with
Yeah.
people. I
Yeah.
tease people. I have fun with people, but I don't necessarily tell jokes to people. And when I try to tell jokes to people, Audrey, by the way, I always get it wrong. And then I stare at people.
Same girl, same girl. I can't land a good joke to save my life. Like, honestly, it's like I could joke and play with people. I can't tell jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
Okay.
way. Same way.
Yeah. So be authentic, be who you are. And if people, again, not everybody is going to like everybody. It's the world. That's how it is.
Yep.
It crushes me that not everybody likes me, but I've accepted not everybody likes me. And really that's okay. So
Yep. And if you guys happen to have a hater, keep in mind too, haters are just your biggest fans. If they start, talking to you and stuff, you're taking up space in their mind,
I like
if that
it.
helps any.
I like it. And here's what I heard: when you're posting something and if somebody drops in and they're negative, guess what? It's still telling the algorithm that it's getting a view. And so when you respond back, and don't be ugly back, but when you respond, it's telling the algorithm, oh, push this content out more. So even take the hateful things and use it to your advantage.
Yep,
It's going to push you out more. So I'm just saying, that's a little other whole other little tidbit. Okay. All right. So
exactly.
being authentic helps that know, like, and trust factor. Final one: when you're on, especially when it's an in person stage. So just remember that if people know you're the speaker, they're going
Mhm.
to be watching you. Now, that doesn't mean don't take a drink of water, don't eat something because you're going to spill food. I'm not saying shut your life down, but I am saying that just be aware that people are watching you. So as you come up onto the stage, you want that first thing you do or that first thing you say to be something that is impactful. All right. And that is going to help your reputation, and that will help build that know and like factor. Okay. So if you can tell me in the chat or just write it down if you're watching the replay, Audrey, tell me what you're thinking. We've talked about reasons to get rid of that big, ugly beast in the middle of our room. What are some reasons that may have stood out to you? And I know that you're watching all the things and you're going to go back and watch the replay, but was there anything that stood out to you as to why you're thinking, yeah, I really need to face this anxiety, this fear, and work with Tracy? Actually, Audrey's in my community already.
I
So
highly recommend working with Tracy.
I'm just having fun with her. But is there something that really stood out to you where you're thinking, man, being on the stage really can help my business?
To me, it I have to get it in more in my head, I think. Or actually, I just need a lot of thoughts out of my head and replace it with it's marketing. It's what I do. It's literally what I do. Even just posting content on social media and stuff, and it's publicity.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've made it so far without people like despising me. And the people like are following me, like we're continuing to grow. Group's over 800 members so far, and
Congratulations.
it's like no one hates me. Not everyone is like thinking that I'm a crazy person. People,
Hmm.
like you said, people are there to cheer you on. And honestly, if they're going to be watching you,
Yeah.
if they're going to be following you, it's already because they like you
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff, and they're
Exactly.
cheering you on. Most likely, no one's going to be like
Exactly.
just suddenly change their mind and just hate you. You should feel safe on your own platforms, and I should feel safe on my platforms.
Yeah. 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 You
So,
should. Okay. I like that you said those things because it is so true. When we put ourselves out there in general, people aren't going to show up just to hate on us. And if they don't like what you're doing, they're going to make their little nasty comment and then they're going to stop coming back. So they'll be gone.
just
Boom.
smile and
Boom.
go on.
Exactly. What is that? Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. What was that movie? It was a movie. I don't know.
Oh,
Anyhow.
penguins in Madagascar.
Yes, 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 yes. Smile and wave, boys. Smile. I think that's the line. I'm not sure.
Yep, that's it. Me and my kids just watched the movie recently.
Oh, that is funny. That is so funny. Okay. All right. So we talked about why you need to get that big, ugly beast out of the middle of your room and the advantages to using some of the tips that I gave you. They are going to boost your know, like, and trust, and why you need to get rid of your big, ugly beast because using the power of your public presence, the power of standing on an in person stage or sitting on a virtual stage will impact your business. Okay, Audrey, is it okay if I give an invitation? I think I
Of course,
asked
girl.
you, and I think you
I
said yes.
also I also think I've will put more comments and stuff on all the posts because I've tried to get it everywhere and stuff, but I'm also trying to be here too. But I will have the comments in the description, the links and whatnot. So yeah, you're good to
Perfect.
go.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. I know Audrey is going to drop the link to my Public Speakers Growth Hub. And what I would say is, since I don't know when you're going to watch this, I would I'm going to make an offer, but I've got to figure out how, maybe like drop me a comment that says Audrey's deal or something like that. But generally, when I lead a master class and I'm able to email everybody, then I let them know that if you join the Public Speakers Growth Hub, and it's a tiered level, so you can come in at a standard level, and then you can come in at a premium level. And then again, later this year, I'm going to be launching a mastery level. And that's for people who, I just hit my mic, that is for people who are very serious about taking the stage. But again, this is for new and nervous speakers. The mastery group is a different animal. But if that's you and you want to come in and work with me in that community, if you do the annual payment instead of the monthly payment, I will automatically upgrade you to the premium level. So if you also pay that annual, you get 2 months free. So you're paying for 10 months, you get 2 months free. And I'm going to upgrade you to the premium level. And you will get to go to those weekly workshop Wednesdays where I was talking about. It is so powerful because that's where you go further faster. It's one of the things I say. So that is the offer I'm making you. And if you are on the school platform, you can just drop me a chat that says Audrey's deal. And once you come in, or you can come in at that standard, pay the annual, and then you can message me Audrey's deal within the Public Speakers Growth Hub. That's how we'll do it. And then I'll just automatically upgrade you to premium.
Sounds good to me. And we'll get this in the comments too, do you think? We'll get the instructions for you. That way you got it for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Yay. So that's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but if you do, I would love to hear from you.
yes, definitely let us know. We'll be monitoring the comments, so let us know. We're happy to help out how we can. So
Exactly.
thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on. It's an honor to have you again, and we'll see each other again.
All
So
right, Audrey, thank you so much. I always love doing this with you. So thank you.
of course, girl. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys need anything, just let us know.
Okay.
And I hope you all have a great night. All right. Bye.